Hello, church family. I have continued to be digging into James chapter 4, and I hope you have as well, since it was our chapter for the week from worship. And so as I've looked at James 4, I've kind of focused in on the verses 13 through 17. So I'd like to read those to you today. Look here, you who say, today or tomorrow we are going to a certain town and will stay there a year. We will do business there and we will make a profit. How do you know what your life will be like tomorrow? Your life is like the morning fog. It's here a little while and then it's gone. What you ought to say is, if the Lord wants us to, we will live and do this or that. Otherwise, you are boasting about your own pretentious plans. And all such boasting is evil. Remember, it is sin to know what you ought to do and then not to do it. The pieces about this passage that have continued to rumble around in my mind and in my heart are, is it our will or God's will that we're living for? In these scriptures, it is very clear that the individual has a plan laid out and what they are going to do. But then James questions us. And the question he asks is, what you ought to say is this: if the Lord wants us to, we will live and we will do this and that. So the question for me today is, am I living fully into the will of God? Am I following after him with all that I have and all that I am? And then in the same passage, we get the image of the morning fog. I don't know about you, but the morning fog for me has been very dense. And as I drive off the top of my hill and down to leave my home each and every morning, the fog is dense. And as I make my way to the church or wherever I am headed, that fog begins to lift and the sun begins to radiate through. This has made me ponder. Do I start out each and every day fully intending to live God's will out and run after God's will with all that I am and all that I have? But then as I am approached by the day, and as that desire within me begins to lift, do I continue to live out God's will? Or am I allowing that to fleet from me as if the fog is lifting from the ground? Friends, I'm going to be honest with you. As we go about our days and our months and our years, things get challenging. Our days, we get pulled in many directions. And many times we begin strong in the morning, dense and full of following after God, that all that we have and all that we are. And as the days go, when we are hit with many things, that desire of following after God's will lifts from us because we get faced with one situation after another. Friends, God's asking us to seek him with all that we have, and to follow after him in all that we do, and to let him be our primary focus. And so let's not be like that fog. Let's not start out hard in the morning, full and dense, knowing that we are going to follow God's will, desiring to follow God's will that day, but then lifting away from that desire because life has thrown us many directions. I would encourage you to stay focused. Stay focused on God's will as you live and as you work and as you play. Look forward to seeing you on Sunday as we embark on James chapter 5. We're going to focus on the part that talks about prayer, the power of prayer in our lives and how we should embark on prayer. Friends, I am praying for you that today will be a day that your entire day is full and dense within you, following after God's will for your life. Hope to see you Sunday.